Welcome to the Elevated Trader Podcast. I am Dr. Kristin Kidgel.
And I am Tracy Ball. Join us every week as we journey into becoming better traders.
We believe becoming better traders involves elevating our skill, mindset, and our health. In each episode, we will discuss the current book we are exploring, and we invite you to join us on this journey.
Are you ready to elevate your trading, mindset, and health to the next level? Let's do this. Welcome back to part 5 of The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Now, the next one is A for affirmations. Now, again, this is another one that I have struggled with my entire life, and I'll tell you why. My brain would just resist affirmations. It just would not work with it. And I just never understood it, couldn't figure it out. And then I listened to Joe Dispenza, and I listened to his video on how the brain works and rewiring the brain. And it was an aha that just said, I get it. I totally get it now. And I understand where the affirmations, I never knew how to really apply them. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand it until I watched that. And then it put that focus. I can actually visualize now what is happening in my brain when I'm trying to do these affirmations. So there's more purpose and direction with my affirmations now. I totally get it. And one of the things that I did pick up through that one of those videos anyway, was that you don't have to believe everything that comes into your brain. And so that's, I can take those thoughts and go, I don't have to believe you. And then I can rewire it with an affirmation. I have a visual picture of what's actually happening with my neurons in my brain, making those paths and those connections. And it's so much more powerful for me that I'm able to do it because I buy into it. I get the science behind it.
Yes, it's the science, and that's what he's big on. Yep, and he's not the only one that's like that, but he's the current one that's big. And I have to tell everyone, all the listeners, that when she had this aha moment, she blew up my phone. I mean, I remember when you said, when you're telling these people right now that this is that you got it, when you listen, no, like people, like seriously life altering. And I think you even used those words with me in text messages, like, oh my gosh, this video, this guy. And it was just hilarious. I loved it. It was so awesome.
Well, up until that point, I would listen to everybody say, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to, but how? How does that work? How? I never understood it. I couldn't get it. And because I didn't understand it, I didn't buy into the science. I didn't know the science to buy into it.
That's important.
Because of that, it just felt frou-frou. It felt like, it's like somebody telling me, oh, well, you just didn't have enough faith. Well, you just didn't, it's okay. That doesn't tell me how this is working here. That's not helpful. I get it.
So I have been told, and they are, and I agree with you, because when you understand the science, then you're like, ooh, I'm going to do this. So by the way, you guys have just to trust us. Go study Dr. Joe Dispenza. Oh. But listen, you can also just trust us and know that if you instill these, they are rewiring the subconscious, which is really important. By the way, what I was taught before Joe Dispenza stuff and all the other gurus out there right now was, they say 30 times a day for 30 days. That's one of the things, because what they're telling us to do without the science is tell yourself. And then that riff and that icky feeling and that what you were saying where my brain just doesn't want to believe it. That's the subconscious beliefs that are opposing that and literally pushing it out. And so it's like, put it in. And then we have to remember that we have to put feeling behind it. And in this book, he talks about, okay, now you've got these affirmations, put something behind it, put physical yelling, moving your hands, high-fiving yourself, getting all excited, feel your energy come up and all those things. And you know who's really good at that is Tony Robbins. He's really good at get up in your face, blah, blah, blah. So you know what I did? I got lucky. I found someone that I already listened to for affirmations and meditations and stuff. It was Bob Barker. He's really big on YouTube. He's got a really great tone to his voice and all this stuff. And I don't know how
We're not talking about The Price is Right, Bob Barker.
But if he did one, I'd probably listen to it, by the way. So no, but Bob Barker on YouTube, he did, I think he said that Hal Elrod came to him and said, would you do these? So he actually reads the affirmations that are in a PDF with this book, the morning affirmations. And so I immediately went there, found them, and right out of the gate, that's what I listened to. I opened that up after I meditate. I listened to the Bob Barker, Hal Elrod morning affirmations. And so you don't even have to rewrite them or anything. They're there and they're really good. But he does go into in this chapter on like how to write customized ones, like 5 steps in creating your own affirmations. And I did have some fun in these pages. It's page 66 and 67. So if you want to create your own, simply just, first of all, in different topics of your life. So in your health, its own category, right? Its own affirmation. In your finances, its own affirmation. So you can go, how many areas of my body or how many areas of my life do I want to work on? Okay, if it's just 2, great. Let's start there. So really quickly, the steps are, what do you really want? Like literally, what do you really want? And then why do you want it? And then who do you need to become to create it? Mm-hmm. That one's interesting.
It is very interesting.
I want to come back to that one because I really want to talk to you about that one and see what your thoughts on that one. What you're committed to doing. So what you're committed to doing to attain it? So what actions are you committed to doing to become that person, to create that goal? And then add inspirational quotes and philosophies. So wherever you want to get those, he does have some examples. So let's go back. Tracy Ball, tell me what you think of those steps.
Well, they completely make sense, right? To start out with what you want and who you want to become and what are the steps that you need to do to become the person that you want to become.
And why.
Yep. I think that's probably, when I look at that, it's the biggest component, the why. And, you could hear a lot of people that'll say, I want this, or I want that, or I want this, or I want that, but they never actually do anything. And the reality is that they have other wants as well, that they're not acknowledging at the same time, that happen to be stronger, and they have a bigger why for that. And that prevents you from really attaining it. So the why, I think, is the biggest, that's the hurdle that really everybody needs to get past in order to do this.
I literally, while you're talking, I'm thinking people that teach us to trade, it's not just trading, but why?
Exactly.
And then what do you have to change about you, literally, to what kind of person do you need to be? So in my mind, it's like, oh, you want to be really good at trading just Apple or just trading Tesla or whatever. Guess what those people do? They are not a back trader. And then all of a sudden they're back trading. That's kind of where I just went. So I just kind of, for some reason, I really wanted to bring these to about trading all of a sudden.
No, it's a great point because it's very key. Because one of the things that, traders will struggle with is discipline. Accountability and discipline and doing what you need to do, prepping for a job. They get hung up in the emotions of it rather than the actual function of trading. And the reality is, if you want to work through all the psychological issues that surround trading, you have to nail it down to the reason that you're even doing it.
The why. Yeah.
The why.
Love it.
And the people that have a big, strong why are the ones that are going to buckle down and do exactly what they need to do to develop the habits that need to be in place in order to be a successful trader.
Okay.
Now,
cool.
Before we move on to the next, which is V, visualization, there was one part in the affirmation section that really stood out to me. It was actually kind of an eye-opener for me because number one, I felt that I was kind of on the lower spectrum as far as percentage of people that felt the way that I feel. And this kind of brought it up and said, no, I'm in the majority, which I don't really want to be in either. But it says, I recently read a statistic that 80% of women have self-deprecating thoughts about themselves, body image, job performance, other people's opinion of them, etc., throughout the day. That's brutal. I'm sure that men do also, although it may be to a lesser extent. Ladies out there, I'm with you. Those 80% that I'm there, the self-deprecating thoughts happens regularly, all the time. It needs to change because it's not true. That's number one. And it doesn't lead to happiness and it doesn't add value to our lives. So the affirmations are extremely important.
Yeah. And ironically, if anybody doesn't know what date it is, it's October 2021. And I just happened to hear an interview with Mel Robbins and her new book. I think it's called The High Five Habit. But the interview was fantastic because I think she's in her early 50s and I'm not far behind her. And so I thought it was hilarious where she's like, I'm still looking in the mirror every day and I'm down on myself out of the gate, standing there every morning. And then so the book kind of starts with this premise of what happened that morning at that moment. And then all the things that followed. And then it's a great interview. So I only bring it up because the smartest of the motivational speakers are still dealing with it. And then this book and the concept and the research and everything, it was a great interview. It was like an hour long. And I'm like, I even rewound it and listened to parts of it again because it was so good. So there are ways to get around that. And it's not just the affirmations, right? It's finding the other people and these other amazing women. I mean, technology today has just made it so much easier for us to evolve with our self-development. High five.
I love it. I'm going to have to listen to that. I haven't listened to it yet.
Did I send it to you?
No,
What?
You didn't, but you're going to. Yeah.
I send you so much.
Hey, you do. But you know what? I just had a thought that I want to kind of work through right now. And in trading, one of the things that I try and teach some of my students is that getting your trading account in a position where you can be consistently profitable. One of the tricks that I do is I try and start out each month and each week in the green already. And I do that by building up my swing trading account and not necessarily closing them out all the time. I reserve them for specific times of the month or specific times in a week that I can close them out, start the week or the month out profitable. Now, I want to equate that to our emotional and our personal development. And it's the same thing. When we start out our morning with the 80% of women feeling deprecating or thinking deprecating thoughts, we are starting in the red. And for anybody that knows how difficult it is to start or come from behind, brutal. So let's change this up and let's start developing some form of an account system where we can have a reserve of green that we can start each day, each week, and each month out in the positive instead of the negative, and help that drive us forward so that our entire life continues to be positive and profitable.
Love it. Love it. Thank you for joining us today. For more information about the show, as well as our list of current reads, check us out at www.theelevatedtrader.com.
Remember to subscribe and share if you found value in today's episode. See you next week.